Hey everybody, welcome to another Q&A for the 2021 SF Indie Fest Indie Shorts Festival. Today we are fortunate to have a group of filmmakers from the program Clever and Creepy. Hopefully your stomachs were strong. These were great movies, scary movies to me. Memento Mori, Jason's Pal Pinpricks, The Sisters, Veronica Miller, The Leave, Korean Ghost Story, Invisible Guest, and House Slaughter. All wonderfully scary and enjoyable, entertaining films. Hey, filmmakers! Thanks for joining us. I'll let you introduce yourselves. I'll let you do the icebreaker, and I'll just call you out, each of you, and let you tell us maybe your role, the title of your film, your role, since there may be actors or writers or whatnot on here, and a brief elevator pitch synopsis of your story, please. Jeremy, I have you up on my grid first. If you guys don't mind going
No,
first.
that's fine. I'm Jeremy Mann. I was I guess, the cinematographer and the editor and the director. And this is,
I'm Nadezhda, and I wrote the characters and the plot, and I made the props for the film.
And tell us yeah, nice. Make sure you mention your movie as much as possible because it's not in your title. So
I was the
Right.
invisible guest.
Yeah, The Invisible Guest.
Yeah.
The Invisible Guest, a very moody, wonderful film. Thank you for making that. Cade, you're next.
Yes, I am a co-writer for Veronica Miller. And maybe I'll let Kwong hit the log line for us. But basically, it's when Bloody Mary comes to an art gallery.
Okay. Kwang, go ahead since that's your segue.
Yeah, hey everybody, it's so great to be here with all these awesome filmmakers and the Shorts Fest. Excited to screen at the Roxy. Our film is Veronica Miller. Like Kate said, it's Bloody Mary set in an art gallery, but it's also all set on a computer screen. So I was the director and co-writer.
Excellent. And next I have Stuart.
Yeah, I wrote, produced, and directed Memento Mori. Memento Mori was produced in conjunction with the Scary Cow Film Collective, which sadly is no more in San Francisco. But
they disbanded? I didn't know that. That's
they suspended, and then for a while, and then they announced that they were going out of business. Hopefully, they'll resurrect at some point. But
anyways, keep going. Yeah.
So Memento Mori is a Twilight Zone type story of a night in the life of death, the ferryman who takes souls across to the other side, and it's the 2010s, so he takes them across not in a ferry boat but in a limousine. And in the film he makes 3 pickups that have very fateful consequences.
Right on. Fun movie. Thank you. Thomas. I have Thomas and your guest too.
Hey, my name's Thomas Peck. I was the director and chief fundraising officer of House Slaughter.
I'm Calvin Jindwala. I was one of the actors playing this character called Sajit, and I was also the Shopify admin.
Excellent. A fun and crazy film, I may add. Teddy, you're next.
I'm Teddy Tenenbaum. This is Min Sun Park, who unfortunately couldn't make it this morning. We're co-writers, co-directors of Koreatown Ghost Story, which is a horror film, short film in which a young Korean American woman makes a macabre deal with a mother figure of hers from her past to marry this woman's dead son in a ritual known as a spirit marriage in Korea, and partially based on actual experiences of Min Sun.
Wow. And you may have affected my use of acupuncturists in the future.
We hope so.
Andrew, please, next, introduce yourself and your movie.
Hi, I'm Andrew Benedict. I made The Sisters. I wrote, directed, produced, and production designed. I'm in LA, but I made it in Brooklyn with all Brooklyn people. And let me see. It's about 2 sisters that wait every day for their father to return on top of a mountain. And it's a black and white kind of over the top take on old movies.
Indeed, it is an entertaining one at that.
Thank you.
And Adam, please, next.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. How are you? My name's Adam Stover. I am the writer, director, and producer of Jason Pell's Pinpricks. It is an animated sci-fi horror anthology film that is based on the graphic novel by Jason Pell. Yeah, that's about it. It's 20 different short stories that are combined into a little arc that are based on stories that you can find in that novel. So go buy a book. That's the one thing I want to get out there. Is that, yeah, that's why I made this. I want people to buy the book.
Right on. And a very moody, it definitely created an atmosphere. Well done.
Thank you.
It spooked me for an animation. I was surprised at how much it did. And Roma, last but not least, please introduce yourself, who you are, your movie, and a short synopsis of your movie.
Hi, everybody. My name is Roma Glova. I'm a director of the short film The Leave. It is only 2 minutes and 50 seconds long, so I can't tell anything about it. You need to see it.
Well, it's a wonderful film. It's spooky as well. Where are you calling in from?
I'm from Russia, Moscow.
Wow. Well, great to have you here.
It's 7 at the evening. And,
we appreciate you being here. One of the benefits of this digital Zoom meetings nowadays, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
So, well, Roma, let me start with you. My next question: how did we have an animation? We almost have like one room stage play kind of narratives. We have different types of styles of films here. How did the style of your movie come about for Delve?
Can you explain what do you mean?
Yeah, style like. Let me just say, where did the inspiration for your movie come from? How'd you get the idea?
From the bus. It's a joke, but it's not a joke. I have the idea for some time ago. I thought about modern technology, about iPhones, about these things, and about young people who live in front of the phone. I thought about for some time, and then I don't know exactly. The idea just came out from my mind. I just know what should I do. First of all, I thought that it should be a little boy, but then that's why I told about the bus. I saw a girl in the bus who was sitting in front of her phone. She didn't see anything around her, and suddenly, like that, I thought that it should be a young girl. Don't know why. I don't know why.
Works well, and yeah, it is kind of a scary movie consistently out there with people just looking at their phones, especially young people. I thought that was really relevant too. Adam, how did either the inspiration and the style? Why'd you use animation? But where'd the inspiration from your movie come from?
The inspiration came directly from the graphic novel. I went to the book premiere. He had a book premiere in Charleston, West Virginia, which is the state capital I'm closest to. And I started reading the book there at the book signing, and decided right then and there I wanted to create an animated film based on the style that he has. So what I did is actually I took each individual page. Each page starts with, each story starts with a single page in the book. And in cases where I could use that single page to animate it using After Effects, I used that single page. If it wasn't enough information narrative wise, in order to, I didn't have enough graphically to tell the whole story, then I had that same artist create additional drawings. But it's literally what I try to do is actually bring a book to life in as much as I could possibly. So I wanted to try to animate the actual graphic novel itself using his style. He has a creepy style that is spooky. And Jason has a real talent for being able to tell almost a flash fiction type story that happens very quickly in just one page. So I wanted to combine those two elements and try to bring it to life as much as I could.
Yeah. Well, I got a burned image of the kids on the bus with the eyeballs the way they are. Creepy.
The elementary school I mentioned in there is my own elementary school. I do a little Hitchcockian things like that sometimes where I'll throw in a reference to myself. So Kent Elementary is where I went to elementary school in that story.
Yeah. Andrew, the inspiration for both making this movie, say, and the style. Which, yeah, indeed, I felt black and white, creepy movies, kind of B movies, you will, but also Baby Jane, Ed Wood, maybe.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the idea for it and the black and white and the style that are all kind of the same thing. It was all really like what I could do in quarantine with a short amount of time with a low budget. I was like, black and white gives you production value. So just kind of like embrace it. If you look at their clothes with color, they look insane, like nothing matches. All the production design is like all over the place, but in black and white, it looks cool. So yeah, it's just, we had a super tiny crew. I kind of just made a list of like what was available, and it was, I had some set flats, I had 2 great actors, and I had I don't know how I got the idea of like people shooting gusts of wind out of their mouths, and then just cobbled together every other idea that I had, and
Right
yeah,
on.
that
Right
was
on.
kind of it. I made the little house myself.
Very
Um,
stylistic
yeah, thank you.
and part of the charm. Yeah. Quang, am I saying your name right? Please correct me.
It's Kwong.
Kwang, sorry.
Yeah.
Kwang, what was your inspiration and how did the style come about, maybe as well?
Yeah, just 2 things. I mean, we made this during the pandemic, during the quarantine as well. So we, just like now, we're so used to these Zoom meetings, and I thought what would be cool to try to do a horror movie within a Zoom setting. Me and Cade brainstormed a lot, and the office where I work is actually part of an art studio, an art gallery, and so like, hey, the whole independent filmmakers adage of use the locations and the resources you have. What if we combine those 2 ideas? And Cade and I wrote this little story for just that.
Yeah, it's a very contained horror film, and you don't need anything else, right? To at least elicit a jump out of my seat. That's what I did at the end there. I was kind of angry that you guys got to me so easily.
Cool.
Yeah.
I want to see what Cade might have some. Cade, do you
Sure.
have any thoughts on the
Go
origin
for
of
it.
the story or any part of the writing of it?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because Kwang approached me with structure, with parameters, with rules. It's like I have this location, and I have this kind of folkloric idea on Zoom screens. What can we do? And to me, at first I was like, okay, there's not much freedom in that. It might be constricting, but then the freedom there was freedom in the rules, in the parameters. And I was like, oh, okay, good. Okay, now we have a story. And he walked me through kind of the set that we were on, and like, okay, I can see a scare happening at the end of this hallway. Oh, we can use these mannequins as kind of creepy figures in the background. Maybe there are mannequins, maybe they're not. So it was an interesting writing process where it wasn't just like, hey, here's just write a short film. It was write a short film given these set of rules. And so it was an interesting writing exercise.
Yeah, it's a great adage for independent filmmakers to use the resources you have, especially keep it in one location, if you will, or like we did in Andrew's film, even maybe Teddy's and Thomas. Thomas and your guest too. You guys were kind of one location. Yeah, you had different rooms, but tell us about your inspiration in making your movie.
Yeah, so we started making our movie in like April 2020, right when like COVID lockdowns were getting really big. And kind of the idea was like, could we make something while outsourcing as much as possible throughout like every aspect of production? So it started with us just drawing a map of our house and then sending it to a screenwriter that we met online in the UK and basically told him, will you write a story based on this house? And then we all agreed no matter what he sent back, we would shoot it word for word exactly, no matter how crazy it was. So that's kind of why the story is the way it is. And then like simultaneously we got the script back, and without even like reading it, we sent it to like a musician in the UK and said like, will you make like a Rob Zombie style theme song for this? And then he did that. So basically wanted to outsource as much as we could and just see what happened. And then it all kind of came together, and then we got what we got.
Yeah, you got a fun film. Is that the space, your backdrop? Are you guys in the location that you made your movie?
Yeah, so
we live here. This is a place we're renting out. So we figured we'd make use of the space.
I thought it looked familiar. Teddy, how about you? Maybe not one room, but one house, one home only, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's one house in Koreatown. We just fell in love with it, so we kind of had to do it, and we had to redesign some scenes around it. But we were able to stick to what we wrote pretty closely.
And where did the idea come from? Where was the seed for this?
So Min Sun was born in Korea but moved here when she was about 2, and so she's lived here all of her life. But she still has a lot of relatives in Korea, and one of them, who's a good deal older than Min Sun, when Min Sun was just a little girl, this 20-year-old cousin of hers died really tragically. She was like a week away from her wedding, and she fell from the railing that gave way in a very tall apartment building, and she fell to her death. And her mother felt that she was being haunted by the cousin's mother. Min Sun's aunt felt that she was being haunted by her daughter, who desperately wanted to be married, which she was supposed to do in a week at that point. And so her mother went to a Buddhist priest who performed this ceremony that is still performed in Korea, a number of Asian countries. Some of them it's actually outlawed now, but it's still done under the table in some, where someone marries the spirits of 2 young people who would have been married but never got the chance to each other, so that they have each other in the afterlife. And that always kind of creeped Min Sun out. So we worked on this idea to marry a live person to a spirit, because of course the consequences of that would be much more dire.
Interesting. Very cool starts. Stuart, how did you come up with your movie?
So the script came out of a writing competition where you get the prompt of, object, location, theme, and the object was a limousine. And it occurred to me that limousines take people from place to place. So I went back to the Greek myth of Charon, the ferryman who takes you across the river Styx, who always demands payment. That's where the idea of 2 pennies on a dead man's eyes comes from. You have to pay the ferryman. And so I transposed this into the 21st century. He's a limo driver. He comes and picks you up when you die. And the first death on this Halloween night is a wino who didn't think living was worthwhile. So he's happy to get a ride. The second guy doesn't know that he's dead. So when Karen comes to take his soul, he refuses the ride, and only too late realizes that means he's going to have to walk the earth as a ghost for a long time. And finally, a little girl who got killed in an accident out trick-or-treating alone. And Karen makes a deal with the wino. The wino insists that he has to take the little girl back and let her live. And the payment is that the wino has to get out of the car and be a ghost like the second guy.
Yeah.
But he gladly accepts that as the price of seeing this little girl return to life.
So on a challenge. And how'd you do in the competition?
Won. Which is one of the reasons why I thought the movie was worth making.
Yes, right on. And Jeremy and Guest, you also won location, but what was the inspiration for your very creepy, strange film? Her head.
Yeah. Well, one of the inspirations was that on chilly night we had a fireplace going, and one of the logs unusually just refused to keep burning. It just went out halfway, and we decided that it wants to leave, and we just kept him on the side. And then one day I was like, oh, he would look cool if we make him pants and maybe a few legs. And there's this log boy character came about this one, so he became a big starter part for the movie.
So she just wrote a story out of her head for whatever reason, and I said, whatever you write, I'll try and film it. We tried to film it together in the house, and then I just shoved it all together, and that's what happened.
Yeah, and the style of the movie was also majorly influenced by the love to the traditional analog film filmmaking.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just all analog.
Yeah, yeah. It feels almost like 16 millimeter. Yeah, are you using film?
It's 8mm.
8 millimeter.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
projected and recorded, so it was just that's what you're seeing, just 8mm projected.
Wow. You know, I'm so brainwashed by digital. I'm thinking you use filters and whatnot. Fantastic. That's what gives it its quality. And how about the music? The music almost feels like I'm at the Castro Theater, but it's muffled underwater or something.
Yeah, that's a great friend of ours who lives in Sweden who just makes the best music, and he and I just have this deal that I'll make stuff and he lets me put music to it. We literally just slap the music on it without editing to it, and it worked great. Whatever he creates just fits the mood of what we live in, so it worked perfect.
It sure did. How about some of your others? Want to chime in about your sound design and how you came about? I know Thomas, they had a friend that just said, you'd said, give me something Rom Zombie like.
Yeah, that was for the original song. And then the rest we had like a composer that we met online and came to an agreement with who lives in France, and then a sound designer from Wales. But yep, never met any of the people, but I think they did all right.
Yeah, they sure did. All the sound design. Teddy, how about you? Your sound quality is fantastic.
Yeah, just hire good sound people. I mean, you know, sound, there's two elements that we think about with sound. One is that it's the first indication of a mediocre filmmaking if your sound is not very good, and I think it takes people out of it right away. But also, sound is probably 50% of horror. I mean, in any horror film, the sound has to play as almost a bigger role, if not as big a role as the visuals. So we have the sound people that we use. You know, we played around a lot with sounds. That weren't native to the scene. We had a Foley artist create a lot of sounds for the movies. Our Paper Mountain Post is the company that did our sound, and they've done horror before, and they're really excellent. But we also we very much wanted to have a score that had Korean elements and modern soundtrack elements to it as well. So we hired Sun Yu Jung, who is a Korean composer. She's living in America. She may be, I don't know if it's permanent or not. I think it might be because she's at school at NYU. And she created this score that she actually plays a lot of traditional Korean instruments. And she created this score that included a lot of traditional Korean sounds that kind of represent the lead, the Margaret Cho character, Mrs. Moon. But we also tried to use some of those sounds throughout the movie as kind of background sounds, just for atmosphere.
Yeah, excellent. And Roma, for your movie too, sound is actually, or not that much of it too, is super important in yours.
Yeah, I thought about sound very much and about music, but the most important thing for me in this movie was the mix when the music from the little music station, Bluetooth station, that we need not to hear when it is over. This music ends, and there is the whole. I mean, there is no sounds when some shit happens. There is no sounds, and it was very important. This effect was very important for me.
Very effective.
I tried to steal it from David Lynch's film Lost Highway. Yeah, I love David Lynch. I love his movies, and there was a scene when a little demon man with a blank face, with white face, came into the party, and sounds like disappears. If you saw the movie, you know what I mean. So I tried to create something like this. It was very important for me.
Yeah, it worked totally. All these movies, if you like play with the headphones, play with them with the headphones on, or in a completely silent room, yeah, it gives you chills. Kwang, also, use of sound in score or lack of was very effective for you, for your movie.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with Teddy. Like for horror and thriller stuff, sound design is so important. And you know, what we try to do is we try to create some sounds that were from me and Kate came up with this whole backstory legend for this. Basically, we don't really explain it in the short because it's only 3.5 minutes long, but like the ghost is from an artist who killed herself, and now her spirit pervades the art gallery. And she killed herself because she couldn't stand the criticism. Like like the people thought her art was really ugly, right? So she has this phrase like she says really in a creepy voice, "So pretty," you know. But that's not in the story at all in any exposition. But that's still something she says whenever she appears. So that's only something you only know subliminally, you know. Now that you know it now, but it's like there's this really cool Easter egg things you can bury in the sound that add value and sort of add the subliminal aspects to it. That,
Yeah, and the audience doesn't even know it, but it's
Right.
affecting them.
Right. Okay. Do you have any thoughts on sound or anything like that?
No, I mean, just that backstory itself. It made its appearance in one of the earlier drafts, but of course, we cut that exposition. But to me, it adds depth to the story. Some things that are hidden underneath that surface that you don't quite know, but you get that there's a bigger story underneath it all.
Yeah. Hey, Kate, since we're on you, and I'll ask this to everyone, what was the big challenge making this movie or writing this movie, producing this movie?
Keeping it short.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the stipulations as well. I tend to write long. And so I think, again, the first draft, I think was 10, 15 pages, and we scaled it all the way back to a short and neat 5 pages, I think.
Well, how about after you've made, you know, I'm a filmmaker too, after you've actually made your movie and you have some great scenes and you gotta cut it. What do they say that, you know, chopping your babies, cutting your babies, or throwing the baby?
I think it's Kill Your Darlings. Yeah.
Kill Your
I think-
Darlings. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there was this like 2-minute exposition scene in the beginning that was cool, established a relationship between the two people, the two young people. But it was kind of like, well, people want to get to the scares. You know, you're watching a short horror movie. You don't need to really see this like, you know, like relationship develop. I mean, who knows? Maybe you do. But like for us, in the purpose of this film, like you want to get to like the ghost stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And Stuart, a challenge of making your movie, other than the parameters by the competition.
Yeah, Scary Cow is as a film collective requires you to use all crew from the collective. So it was all volunteers basically from the collective, and working with a child actor was a little bit of a challenge, but I had previously worked with her older brother on another production, so that helped. And she was very, very talented. And just a couple of weeks ago, we found out that she passed away in a freak bicycle accident. So we're, you know, I've added the dedication to the film, but
Sorry to hear that.
other than that, it came together really well. Finding some locations was a little bit challenging. There's a scene where there's a bunch of Halloween revelers that gathered outside a restaurant. I was hoping that the restaurant we used would let us, you know, have the diners in the background through the window, but it worked out okay. Amazing.
Normal filmmaking challenge. Making movies is hard. Location, time, managing people.
Amazingly, we got an ambulance company to donate the services of one of their ambulances and crew for the night. So that was the opposite of a challenge, where we thought it was going to be difficult.
Good. Andrew, how about you? Some challenges?
Oh man.
A challenge. How about one challenge?
Yeah, don't do your own art. It was my movie was so heavy on production design, and I did it all myself and had so much to do. Like literally me and the DP were wallpapering the set and like building it together, and yeah, like days were going by. I mean, and I took like 4 days off of work to do it. So it was just so much.
That's not much for your art. 4 days is nothing.
And then like also was constructing a mountain in my kitchen in Brooklyn. It was just so much to do. And then like it was like the day before the shoot, and I was like, I haven't even thought about directing this. I've just been just building for days and days. So yeah, I think I took on so much, and definitely could have used more help.
Right. Jeremy, difficulties, challenge.
Getting the damn camera to work was
What kind of camera did you use for the Super 8 fans out there?
it's a Bolex 8mm Rex, but we put a external viewfinder on it with a CCT camera through the lens, and built a battery pack in order to make the motor spin instead of just winding it. And after that, it was just staying out of the way of the shot with, you know, hovering above the staircase, dangling 2 little legs on sticks and hoping it looks good later.
Thomas, the challenge making your movie?
Yeah, I think one notable challenge was like, so when we basically hired the screenwriter, we did say we wanted a part in the film for our cat. His name's Kevin. And in the original script, I think Kevin had a pretty big role, and just getting a cat to act like seems really simple, but it's not. So what we did is we have like this replica made of Kevin. And you can see the real Kevin's right here. So whenever Kevin was being like fussy and wanted to go to his trailer, we just used like the stunt double. So it worked out.
Yeah, well, you guys should know in independent filming, like no kids, no animals, no explosions. But
Exactly.
you can talk to Jeremy. They have a cat. They snuck their cat in the movie, I think, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, but she's stupid, so it's okay. It's easy.
Teddy, what was a challenge for your making your movie?
That's easy. We shot during COVID.
Mhm.
In fact, we shot about a week after Thanksgiving, so the Thanksgiving surge was on. And we lit, every day the city and the state were threatening to shut everything down, including production. So we had no idea. We didn't know until basically day or two before if we were going to be able to shoot. And then when we did, during COVID times, and especially during the surge, we had to have COVID tests. Since we shot 3 days, we had to have them when we started. We had to have them a couple days later. We were just constantly worried about losing cast or crew to someone getting sick and the whole thing shutting down. Luckily, actually, the irony is that I think film sets end up being like the safest place in Los Angeles during COVID because there's so much testing and we're cleaning the set basically every half hour and ventilators everywhere. So it actually felt pretty safe to be there when we were there.
And all sets now are required to have the COVID compliance officer or whatever role.
Yeah,
right?
We actually had two, one of whom was the co-director, co-screenwriter, co-producer of the movie. For those of you independent filmmakers who want a little tip on that, you can actually get certified on a 2-hour online course, and it's a great course. You learn a ton. And then as long as you follow, all of the regulations, you can do that on set. And also for anyone who's looking for a job right now in the industry, you can get paid pretty well. On a daily rate is like around $500, I think, a day to be a COVID compliance officer on set somewhere. And they're desperately looking for them.
Hey, some work advice there. Nice tip. Kwong, challenge making your movie?
Well, we had to do it all in one evening because the art studio we worked in, it has a large sky panel. So basically, it's all set at night. So as soon as 6 a.m. rolled around, we were done, whether we liked it or not. So we just meticulously timed it from the crew would get there about maybe 4 or 5, and we try to start filming as soon as the sun went down. So we literally had 11 hours to film it. So it was cool. I mean, it was stressful, but just having that
just one evening.
Yeah, one evening. So
Wow.
having that ticking clock of the sun was a really great motivator for us. It's kind of stressful, but it was a good exercise in efficiency.
Yeah, right on. Adam, a challenge?
For me, it was I actually took the pages from the book. Instead of traditional animation is created from cells where you'll have foreground characters and then the background, and you can animate those things separately. Whereas I started with the flat image, so I'd have to cut out the foreground characters and then animate those and then replace the background as well. So that was labor and costly in terms of.
You didn't have. I thought you might say like tracking down the author or getting the author to give the rights or the permission. No.
First day he was selling the book, I was there, first in line. So that wasn't an issue for me. It was actually wanting to use the actual pages of the book and not an approximation, but to incorporate his artistic style as well. That was important to me. It's the combination of his words and his images. So using both those things was really important to me. But it ended up being pretty laborious in the long run. It took longer than I would have liked, but I'm pleased with our final result. So
yeah, it should be. Roma, how hard was it to make your movie? What was a challenge to make your short?
Every step was a challenge. To make something little as 2 minutes is a big challenge for me. To find location, find money for this location. But I think the most challenging thing was to make the crew believe in your story and to make the crew help you happen this thing, you know. So my crew worked for free, and I need to find friends. You know what I mean? Not employee, but friends that should believe in me, should believe in this story, and make it happen.
So true, so important to have other people involved that believe in the project, because then the film becomes better. Yeah, for sure. Well, hey, this is going real quick. I can keep talking to you guys all day long, but real quick, I'm going to give you a chance for last parting message or to talk to each other. Don't have much time, so I'll be emceeing this. But Stuart, I'll start with you. Anything you want to add? How you want your audiences to feel? You know, advice, anything. I'm going to ask everybody.
Like the audiences to go awe at the end. And anybody who wants to contact me, you can probably find me online. Feel free to drop me an email.
Right on, Stuart. Glad to have you here. Cade, I have you next.
Yeah, I just hope everyone's scared. Hope it accomplishes what it set out to accomplish.
They definitely are. That's why you're in the festival. Andrew, any parting words, last messages?
Yeah, just happy to be in the festival. Hope everybody liked it. Hope people come away from it saying, what the fuck was that?
We did, and we will, and we can do it at the Roxy too. You guys are all live. You guys are gonna be in a theater, man. Fantastic. Jeremy and friend, what do you hope audiences feel, or last parting words?
I just hope people can be safe and go see them on the big screen, where the way this should be seen, the way horror should be seen. So just hope people get to see it big and loud, you know.
And hopefully some of them get inspired, go home and make their own short film, because here we have examples of all sorts of situations and all scale of production. So whatever you have, if you have a small camera, no matter how good, and you have a good story, just go for it, because creativity, someone said, there's a raft that we climb on in a very intense, insane times. So definitely making this film was a highlight of the past year for us.
Interesting quote. I like that. Thomas and actor. I forget your name, so I just say actor because I remember you from the film. Parting words, advice to filmmakers, or what do you want audiences to feel?
Yeah, I would say, you know, just go to houseslaughter.com in case you really like the film and wanted to take some of it home with you. We got face masks, so you can be COVID compliant. T-shirts. You know, we just really wanted to create products because that's what life's all about.
Nice plug there.
Yeah, thanks.
And you want to say anything?
No, I think one of the things that was the most fun was just going for it and just making the film out of nothing. And it all kind of worked out well for us. So we're happy.
Indeed. Roma, how about you? Parting words, last message. What would you like to say?
I would like to say thank you, Jason, very much for your time.
Thank you, Roma.
And everybody have a good time watching short films. I love short films. Everybody, I think, should love short films and watch it. I
should have ended with you. Kwong, last words.
Yeah, I hope people go see Veronica Miller at the Roxy or online. But also, I want to thank the festival because I got a chance to watch everyone's really great short films. You know, the Sisters film, the Korean Ghost Story one. All you guys' films are so fun. So I had a really great time this last week watching everybody's films.
Indeed, true that for sure. Adam, last message you'd like to say?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to reiterate what Kwong just said, is that my favorite part so far of this experience has been able to watch the other people's films and to really enjoy those. So all the different concepts and the production design are really on par with what I like to see. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah. And Teddy, last but not least, no pressure. Last message.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that Min-sun and I are incredibly gratified to see that Hollywood is finally changing and wanting to show stories of groups that aren't typically represented on screen, and particularly have the people from those groups telling those stories. Obviously, I'm not, but she is, and she's co-directed and co-wrote. But it started with, I think it started with independent film. And it started with film festivals and things like the San Francisco Short Film Festival and Indie Shorts. And I want to thank you guys for promoting that, and thank the film festival industry for promoting films by women, films by underrepresented minorities. And just, people don't need the encouragement, but I just want to encourage everybody who is in one of those groups to make a movie, to write a script, to tell their own stories, because Hollywood's buying for the first time ever.
Right on. Well, that's a nice ending. And I want to say thank you, filmmakers, not only for being here and sharing your stories with us, but making your movie. Well done. It's hard to make a movie. So thank you for making them. Thank you for submitting to our film festival. Congratulations for getting the festival, and good luck with your festival run and your filmmaking careers. I hope to meet you guys in person. Maybe some of you will be at the Roxy this week, I hope. If not, let's meet each other in person sometime. All right, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
were awesome.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Be well.